Everything starts on a day the classroom roles are already decided. There's Yusei Fujisaki, the handsome class hero, and Kureha Yua, the beautiful social media idol. Everyone agrees they're the main characters of the class. Then there's our guy, Mogi Fukusuke. He's Yusei's best friend and a total background character. His sister tells him he should just get a girlfriend, but Fukusuke says he doesn't really get romance. Besides, he has a strange new job in class. It began when Kureha said his name sounds lucky. Fukusuke. Like, good fortune, she laughed. After that, guys who jokingly prayed to him got girlfriends. The rumor spreads like wildfire. He becomes the Fukusuke Shrine, a love consultant. Girls ask him for advice on birthday presents. Guys line up, begging for a blessing. He's so busy he has to skip lunch again. He just wants to eat in peace. He escapes the noisy classroom. He heads for the one place no one ever goes, the quiet staircase leading to the roof. But someone is already there. A quiet girl with pink hair and headphones. Usuba. She's fast asleep on the steps. He decides not to wake her up. But a sudden gust of wind slams a window open. They both jump, completely startled. Fukusuke tries to close the high window. He climbs onto a rickety old desk. The desk starts to wobble violently. He thinks, how lame. I can't even stand up. He's about to fall. Suddenly, the shaking stops. Usuba is there, holding the desk steady for him. I'm holding it, she says, her face bright red. I definitely won't let go. He thanks her, completely flustered. They have a super awkward first real conversation. She knows his name, but he doesn't know hers. Then they both just start giggling. He leaves, thinking their first talk was so weird. Usuba watches him go. She thinks to herself that he's kind. Later, during PE, Fukusuke watches Yusei play soccer. As always, his best friend is the star. All the girls are cheering for him. Fukusuke spots Kureha Yua on the sidelines, and right next to her is Usuba. They're both staring intently at Yusei. He feels a strange, complicated knot in his chest. After school, the shrine is open again. But today's visitor is different. It's Kureha Yua, the most popular girl in school. She blushes and asks if she can talk to him. The whole class starts whispering. It has to be about Yusei. Fukusuke's heart pounds in his ears. He has to listen to his crush confess to his best friend. He can't do it. He just can't. Sorry, he says, his voice shaking. I can't listen to that story. He grabs his bag and runs out of the classroom. He leaves Yua standing there, confused and hurt. On the crowded train home, he hates himself. Running away is the worst, he thinks. He glances across the car, and his heart stops. Usuba is on the same train. He tries to avoid her gaze, feeling ashamed, but then he sees it. A man's hand is creeping toward her skirt. His mind goes blank with fury. Unforgivable. He has to help her, but how? Making a scene will only embarrass her more. Then, he gets an idea. He takes a deep breath and starts pushing through the crowd. Excuse me, sorry, my friend is up there, he says loudly. People actually part to let him through. He reaches Usuba's side and stands between her and the man. He leans in close. Switch with me, he whispers. He pulls her behind him, shielding her with his body. It's okay now, he says softly. He's so focused he doesn't realize how close they are. When his station arrives, he turns to leave. A hand grabs his arm. Wait, it's Usuba. She wants to thank him and asks him for tea. They end up at a crepe shop. She's delighted. She thanks him for being so brave. He laughs weakly. I'm not brave at all. He confesses he's the coward who ran away from Kureha. Usuba looks down at her cup. Me too, she whispers. She admits she feels pathetic and can't talk to people either. The hot water runs. Steam fills the small bathroom. Her phone is safe in a waterproof case. Music plays from a small speaker. It's her private time, away from everything. Her finger slides across the screen. A small squeak echoes in the room. She's ready for her bath. She carefully steps into the tub. A quiet splash breaks the silence. She sinks into the warm water. Her hair is tied up neatly. She lets out a soft, happy hum. She rests her head against the tub. A long sigh escapes her lips. The day's events rush back to her. So much happened today. Her fist clenches under the water. She's replaying a single moment. Her fingers slowly unfurl. She remembers the feeling of his hand. A blush creeps up her neck. It spreads across her entire face. Her eyes are squeezed shut with joy. She can't hold back a huge smile. Mogi-kun's hand. I held it. She kicks her feet playfully. Water splashes everywhere. A happy little giggle escapes. Hey! She sinks her face into the water. Bubbles rise to the surface. She remembers their conversation. Talking for hours and hours, she surfaces, taking a breath. The happy feeling starts to fade. A single question hits her. A memory flashes in her mind. Her own flustered face from earlier. She remembers Mogi's quiet confession. He didn't want to date Kureha, he just wanted to be able to talk to her, to look her in the eye and speak. That was his only wish. Then, another memory surfaces. A different boy from school. He tried to offer Mogi money. "Help me date her," he said. But Mogi's face was like stone. He refused the offer, and then she remembers his threat. A protective look in his eyes. "I'll keep him away from Usuba." He was protecting Jorin Turi. Back in the bathroom, it all clicks. Mogi's wish was so simple, so pure. She thinks about his honesty. He's the first boy to ever be like that with her. She smiles softly to herself. What a small wish, huh? P.I.N.G. Her phone screen lights up. Her eyes snap down to the sound. She grabs it with a splash. Her smile disappears instantly. Her eyes are wide with shock. Yua-chan? In her mind, she sees her friend crying. Yua's message is panicked. Mogi-kun was avoiding me. Maybe he doesn't like me. It hurts. Usuba's heart sinks. Yua-chan, you're worrying too. She looks down at the phone. Torn. She wants to tell Mogi what's happening. But she can't betray her friend. Her gaze drifts from the screen to the counter, to a strange little device sitting there. Click. She presses a button. Her mind begins to wander again. Away from Mogi, away from Yua, to another boy entirely. Fukusuke-kun. Her memory goes back to that day. Flashback. The school gym. A boy with spiky hair stands in the crowd. The first time I met him. A younger Usuba covers her mouth, surprised. Mogi stares, his hands clenched into fists. He can't believe who's standing in the doorway. He whispers her name, Usuba-san. She just looks back at him, her expression calm. Then, a huge, proud smile spreads across her face. She gives him a big thumbs up, saying, "Yeah!" Mogi's mind flashes back to what just happened. He'd bowed deep in front of the whole class, apologizing to Korea for being a jerk. But then Korea apologized right back for ignoring him and going home yesterday. She covers her mouth, totally flustered. He tells her, "It's fine, really, don't worry about it." She looks down, whispering, "No, not at all." He remembers seeing her worry all day. Her inner thoughts were a mess. Maybe he doesn't like me. She even wrote, "It hurts," with a little crying face. That's why she wanted to talk right away. Mogi was freaking out, thinking, "Now?" But she wasn't mad at him. She wanted to apologize to Stair, Planem. It was all about the Fukusuke shrine. She thought she'd caused trouble between Mogi and another guy, Fujisaki-kun. That's when Fujisaki steps in. He tells her it's not her fault at all. Kureha looks up at him, her cheeks bright red. "Really?" she asks, her voice soft. Fujisaki's heart just about stops. He thinks to himself, so cute. He stammers that it was no trouble, none at all. Suddenly, the whole class is getting involved. Mogi is surrounded by grateful classmates. "Thanks, Mogi. I'll treat you to lunch." One confused girl just asks, "What's going on?" Kureha watches them, letting out a relieved sigh. Mogi looks around at all the happy faces, and then he remembers who made this all happen. He thinks, "I need to thank Usuba-san." He realizes their secret plan worked. A huge smile breaks out on his face. Their alliance just scored its first victory. Across the room, Usuba-san sits at her desk, smiling right back at him. The school bell rings, echoing through the halls. Kureha-san peeks out of a classroom. She has a bright, cheerful smile. She calls out to our boy Mogi-kun, and then she gives him a playful wink. Mogi's heart just stops. B.A. dump. His mind goes completely blank. Kureha-san just smiles, heading on her way. He stammers out a thank you, totally flustered, but he can't stop thinking about that wink. He turns to his friend, Usuba-san. "She winked at me." He thinks, totally confused. "Does she do that a lot?" he asks. Usuba looks over, headphones around her neck. She explains it's just a habit Kureha has. When she gets nervous, she unconsciously closes one eye. It just looks like a wink. Mogi's face falls. "What a devilish habit," he mutters. So it didn't mean anything special after all. Still, he thinks she's amazing, so kind, so brave, even when she's nervous. He sighs. What a girl. Then he snaps back to reality. Well then, he says, turning to Usuba. It's your turn. Usuba freezes. It's her turn to talk to her crush, the school star, Yusei. She starts nervously fidgeting with her sweater. But, she whispers. She can't just talk to someone like him face to face. Mogi gives her a reassuring smile. It'll be fine, he says. Just chat casually. Usuba's eyes go wide. Chat? Mogi suggests a topic. Ask him what he had for breakfast. Usuba just stares at him. Break. Fast, she repeats, completely lost. Is that really what you ask someone you just met? Mogi scratches his head. Okay, maybe that's a weird idea. Usuba gets an idea. We need something in common. She looks at Mogi, hopeful. What are your hobbies, Fujisaki-kun? She asks. He thinks about it. Basketball? Sneakers? Usuba's face sinks. She knows nothing about that stuff. Isn't there anything else? She pleads. Mogi turns the question back on her. What about you, Usuba-san? What do you like? She looks down, her cheeks turning pink. Well, I watch a lot of anime and read manga. Mogi's eyes light up. Really? Me too. He tells her he checks out the first episode of everything. He leans in, excited. So what are you watching this season? They start getting into it, but then Mogi stops. He shakes his head. This won't help. Talking about anime with him doesn't help her with Yusei. Usuba looks embarrassed. Right. The mood gets awkward again. Mogi tries another topic. I also watch VTubers. Usuba's voice is barely a whisper. I used to be a VTuber. But she couldn't keep it up, it was too lonely. The conversation hits another wall. Mogi racks his brain. This isn't working. And then it hits him. Oh, right, he says, his eyes wide. Usuba-san, do you read manga? She nods. Yay, yes. Mogi's mind is racing. Yusei, the guy she likes. He reads a ton of basketball manga. Mogi breaks into a huge grin. This is it. The perfect topic. I've read some famous ones, he exclaims. He's practically beaming with excitement. Usuba looks up at him. For the first time, a real, genuine smile spreads across her face. Yes, she whispers, feeling a rush of hope. The plan is finally set. Mogi sits back, satisfied. Okay, my turn now. He tells her, let's talk anime for the rest of the time. And they dive right in. They talk about epic fantasy worlds and knights in shining armor. They gush over sweet high school romances. They laugh about crazy comedies with giant monsters. They get hyped for dark, action-packed adventures. Isekai, rom-coms, shonen, slice of life. They cover it all. Sitting on that bench, they're not just two lonely kids anymore. They're friends, finally finding their common ground. The final bell rings. School is out. Yusei grabs his bag, ready to go. He's off to club activities, but Mogi calls out his name. Yusei, can I have a moment? And standing right there is Usuba-san. Her head is down, blushing. This is it. Their friends watch from the hall, totally shocked. Hang in there, Usuba-san, they whisper. She's so nervous, she can barely speak. Nice to meet you? She stammers. Yusei gives her a bright, friendly smile. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Fujisaki Yusei. A friend laughs. But you guys are classmates. It's super awkward, but the ice is broken. So what did you want to talk about? Usuba finally gets to the point. I heard you know about basketball manga. Yusei's eyes light up. Oh, basketball manga! He asks if she has any recommendations. Usuba gets a burst of confidence. I've read quite a bit. Mogi watches from the side, a proud smile on his face. He thinks to himself, just as planned. Yusei thinks for a second. If I had to pick one, he says the title, Slam Dunk. Mogi sees Usuba smiling and thinks it's a success. But wait, her hands are shaking, she's trembling. Mogi's face strains. That's not the manga they practiced. The plan is falling apart right before his eyes. Yusei, seeing her freeze, tries something else. What about Kuroko's basketball? Suddenly, Usuba and Yusei are talking. They like the same characters. They're totally hitting it off. The conversation takes off without Mogi. He feels like a third wheel, completely invisible. He quietly turns to leave. I'm just in the way. But then, a hand grabs the back of his jacket. It's Usuba. She pulls him back. He turns around, surprised. She looks at him, her eyes full of concern. Don't you want to be alone with him? She asks softly. Mogi waits outside the school infirmary. The door opens. It's Usuba. She bows deep, thanking him over and over. He just smiles and tells her to take care. He asks if she's really all right. She says she feels much better after a rest. He gently teases her about being so nervous. Then he looks at her, a little hopeful. So, want to walk home together? He asks. Her face completely lights up. Yes! They walk side by side through the city streets. Usuba says she thinks today was a success. Mogi isn't so sure about that. She tells him he did a great job talking to Yusei, but then her happy expression fades. She admits that once a girl named Yuha showed up. She couldn't get a single word out. She remembers how hard it is to join a conversation. It's always so hard to find the right timing. Mogi listens, his expression soft and knowing. He understands that feeling all too well. They keep walking, lost in their own thoughts. Suddenly, Usuba stops and points. "Supermarket," she says. "I'm going shopping." Mogi is a little surprised. She explains that it's sale day, and then she quietly admits she lives all alone. Mogi stops in his tracks. Living alone in high school? Usuba just says, "Well, see you tomorrow." She turns to go, but then freezes. A look of pure dread washes over her face. "What should I do?" she whispers in horror. She forgot her reusable bag. Mogi is confused. Reusable bag? She reminds him you have to pay for plastic bags now. But that's not the real problem. The cashier is going to ask, "Do you need a bag?" You can just nod yes, Mogi suggests. She grabs her head in despair. "They'll also ask what size?" she cries. Mogi finally understands. He's speechless. And in that exact moment, crack! A huge bolt of lightning splits the sky. Mogi looks up. Thunder? A single drop of rain hits his face. Then another. And another. The sky just opens up completely. It's pouring. Absolutely pouring. "It's going to rain!" he yells in total shock. They're getting completely soaked in seconds. Usuba doesn't seem to care about being wet. She quickly hides her headphones under her cardigan. "I can't let these get wet," she says, panicked. Mogi stares, completely at a loss. But Usuba spots something. There, an arcade, a perfect shelter from the rain. "Let's go," he shouts, grabbing her hand. They take off running through the downpour. They burst through the doors, dripping everywhere. Mogi sighs. "Oh man, we're soaked." He worries about how long the storm will last. He looks over and sees Usuba. She's not even paying attention to him. She carefully takes out her precious headphones. She gently wipes every last drop of water off them. Mogi watches her. And then he sees something else. His eyes go wide with pure shock. Usuba notices his expression. "Mogi?" He jerks away fast. "It's nothing! Don't look!" He stumbles back, trying to get away. Usuba reaches out, confused. "Where are you going?" She grabs his arm, trying to stop him. "Come closer this way," she says, pulling him. Her wet clothes press against his leg. Mogi's entire world just short-circuits. His eyes start spinning. He's totally freaking out. He rips off his own wet jacket. He tries to give it to her. "Let me give you my jacket." Usuba just blushes, completely confused by his actions. She quietly whispers, "Thank you." Mogi thinks she has no idea how charming she is. He looks away, his thoughts racing. He always tries to hide himself from everyone. That's why he always wears a big, baggy cardigan. Suddenly, screech! A car pulls up right beside them. The door swings open with a loud clatter. A girl with short hair steps out, holding an umbrella. "Hey, Fuku?" she asks, looking at Mogi. Then she sees Usuba. "Are you bringing a girl home?" Mogi's face goes pale. "Size!" Mogi stands frozen in the doorway. His sister has a smug grin on her face. She wiggles her eyebrows at him. "So, you gonna introduce me?" Mogi's brain is completely fried. He can't even form a sentence. He glances over at Usuba. Her face is beet red, staring at the ground. Mogi's sister steps forward, looking Usuba over. "You're soaked. Come on in." She gently grabs Usuba's arm. Usuba is frozen like a statue. "It's okay. My brother's harmless." She winks. Mogi finally finds his voice. "It's not like that," he stammers out. His sister just laughs. "Sure, Fuku." She pulls Usuba inside, out of the rain. Mogi scrambles in right after them. We were just waiting for the rain to stop. His sister isn't listening at all. "Don't just stand there, Fuku. Get her a towel." Mogi lets out a defeated sigh and runs off. He returns with the fluffiest towel he can find. He holds it out to Usuba. She takes it with a shaky, "Thank you." Mogi's sister pats the couch seat next to her. "So how do you know my dense little brother?" Mogi chokes on his own spit. "Hey!" Usuba manages a tiny, nervous smile. "We're classmates," she says softly. "Classmates, huh?" His sister leans in close. "Is that what kids are calling it these days?" Usuba's face goes red all over again. Mogi quickly jumps between them. Stop it. You're making her uncomfortable. His sister just grins wider. I'm just being friendly. The rain outside finally starts to soften. Usuba sees her chance and stands up quickly. The rain is stopping. I should probably go. Mogi's heart sinks just a little. Oh, already? His sister says, disappointed. Usuba bows politely. Thank you for the towel. Mogi walks her to the door in heavy silence. Sorry about my sister, he mumbles. Usuba just shakes her head. It's okay. She opens her umbrella and hurries away. Mogi watches her go, then closes the door. He turns. His sister is there, arms crossed. She's cute, she declares. You should definitely ask her out. Mogi groans and walks past her, his face burning. The next day at school feels incredibly weird. Mogi keeps replaying the whole night in his head. He sees Usuba in the hallway. She looks at him, then quickly looks away. The awkwardness is at an all-time high. Later, he's talking with Sakito, the popular girl. She's telling a hilarious story about a teacher. Usuba is sitting nearby, pretending to read. Mogi can't help but chuckle at the story. He glances over at Usuba. Her shoulders are shaking from silent laughter. A tiny giggle escapes from behind her book. Mogi's eyes widen in surprise. He thinks to himself, Amari-chan laughed. Sakito stops her story. Sorry, it was just too funny. Usuba looks up from her book, a real smile on her face. Her eyes are sparkling with a little mischief. She looks between Sakito and Mogi. But, she says, a plan forming in her head. You two seem to get along really well. Sakito looks confused for a second. Usuba points from Sakito right to Mogi. Maybe you should be his girlfriend. The suggestion just hangs in the air. Sakito's face explodes into a deep red. She tries to play it cool, giving a little wink. Sounds nice, she says, but her voice cracks. She covers her face, stammering, Gee, girlfriend. Usuba's plan worked perfectly. Mogi just watches the whole chaotic scene unfold. He isn't flustered or angry at all. He looks over at Usuba, who is giggling again. A warm, gentle smile spreads across his face. He sees a totally different side of her. A playful, teasing, confident side. And he realizes he really likes it. Usuba finally calms down. From her own joke, she closes her eyes. A look of pure happiness on her face. For a moment, everything feels perfect. Mogi just stands there, completely still. The world around him is totally silent. The spot where Usuba stood is now empty. His heart finally starts beating again, loud and fast in his chest. Her voice echoes in his mind. I like the real you. His brain slowly reboots. He blinks once, then twice. Did that actually just happen? He looks down at his own hands. They're trembling slightly. He can't process it. It feels like a dream. He looks down the dark, empty street. She's really truly gone. Then, his mind flashes back to a quiet moment they shared. Usuba smiles gently at him. She says, I think you're fine just as you are. He remembers his face getting hot. He didn't know how to answer her. He just mumbled something like, yeah, I guess. He sees her face again in his memory. A little blush on her cheek. She looked so happy he agreed. He never understood why back then. He never got what she was trying to say. Then, his mind shows him a different image. The roar of a massive crowd. A bright, shining basketball court. He's flying through the air for a dunk. The hero. The perfect star player. This is the Mogi everyone else knows. The Mogi he's supposed to be. But Usuba, she never looked for that guy. He sees her thoughtful face again. As if she was looking right through his act. He remembers the seconds before her confession. Her voice was shaking so much. She nervously called out his name. Mogi-kun. He remembers turning around, totally confused. He had absolutely no idea what was coming. Her words crash into him all over again. The clumsy Mogi-kun is the one I like. The one who trips over nothing. The one who says the wrong thing. The guy who tries so hard to hide from everyone. Mogi is still just standing there on the sidewalk. A car drives by, but he doesn't see it. His whole world has shrunk down. It's just him and the memory of her voice. He clenches his fists tight at his sides. His knuckles are turning completely white. Who is he really? Is he that untouchable basketball star? Or is he the awkward guy she just described? He's always hated that clumsy part of himself. He tried to kill it, to bury it deep down. But she found it anyway. And she wasn't disgusted by it. She said she liked it. A new feeling starts to bubble up inside him. It's not shock. It's not confusion. It feels warm. A tiny, shaky smile appears on his face. He lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He thinks about all the pressure from his friends, the constant need to be popular and cool. It's always felt so heavy, but her words, they feel light. Her words feel like he can finally breathe. He lifts his head and looks up at the sky. His eyes are sharp, determined. He knows exactly what he has to do. He can't just leave things like this. She ran off thinking she messed everything up. He has to give her an answer. His feet finally start moving, just a single step forward, then another. He picks up the pace. He breaks into a jog, then a full sprint. He's running, heart pounding in his ears. The streetlights streak past in a blur. He runs in the direction she disappeared. He doesn't have a plan. He just runs. He has to find her. He has to tell her. Her name is the only thing in his head. He turns a corner, gasping for air, and stops, dead in his tracks. Under a streetlight, there she is. Mogi walks away, a massive grin on his face. He keeps looking down at his hand, the one she had just been holding. He feels like he could float all the way home. Inside, Usuba leans against her front door. She slides to the floor, her face bright red. She buries her face in her hands. A small, happy laugh escapes her lips. Later, Mogi lies in his bed, staring at the ceiling. He suddenly kicks his feet in the air. A huge, goofy smile is plastered on his face. He grabs his phone, opens her contact. He types a message, then deletes it. What would he even say right now? He just stares at her picture, smiling. In her room, Usuba is also wide awake. She holds her own hand up to the light. She can still feel the warmth from his. Her heart is beating way too fast. She pulls her blanket over her head to hide her blush. The next morning at school feels different. Mogi sees her by the shoe lockers. His heart does a backflip. Usuba spots him, and her eyes go wide. They freeze, just staring at each other. Mogi's friend slaps him hard on the back. Yo, you look like you've seen a ghost. Mogi stammers, no, I'm good. Usuba quickly turns away, pretending to fix her shoe. In class, they sit at their desks. He can feel her gaze from across the room. She can feel his too. But neither of them dares to look. Usuba's friend Yachio leans in close. She whispers, "Did something happen with you and Mogi?" Usuba panics, shaking her head. "Nothing at all." Yachio squints. "Your face is completely red." Usuba grabs a textbook and fans herself wildly. Lunchtime finally comes. Mogi sees his chance. He stands up and starts walking toward her desk, just as he's about to speak. His buddies grab him from behind. "Let's go!" They drag him out of the classroom. He looks back at her, totally helpless. Usuba watches him go, her shoulders slumping. After school, the hallway starts to empty. Mogi is about to leave with his friends again. Then he hears a voice call his name. "Mogi-kun!" It's Usuba. She's standing there, looking nervous. His friends all turn and stare. He quickly tells them to go on without him. Now it's just the two of them. The silence is incredibly awkward. He starts, but nothing comes out. "Do you have a minute?" she asks quietly. He nods immediately. A little too fast. "The roof?" he suggests. They walk up the stairs, one step at a time. Not a single word is spoken. On the roof, the wind blows through her hair. They stand by the fence, a few feet apart. This is so much weirder than last night. "So," he says, scratching the back of his neck. "So," she repeats, looking down at her feet. He takes a deep breath. "Are we, She looks up. What?" "Like, together," he blurts out. Her eyes widen for a second. Then, a tiny smile plays on her lips. "I think so," she whispers. A huge wave of relief washes over Mogi's face. "Okay, good. That's good," he says way too loudly. She lets out a small laugh at his reaction. The awkward tension finally breaks. They just stand there for a moment, smiling. Mogi takes a small, hesitant step closer. He glances down at her hand. Then he slowly, shakily reaches out his own. Usuba sees his trembling fingers. Her heart starts pounding all over again. She meets his hand halfway. Their fingers touch, then gently intertwine. "It feels just as right as it did last night. I've wanted to do this all day," he admits softly. "Me too," she whispers back, her face glowing. They turn and look out over the city together. He gives her hand a gentle squeeze. This is their new beginning. The next morning, the sun streams into Mogi's room. He slowly opens his eyes. Then it hits him. Usuba. A huge, goofy smile spreads across his face. "She's my girlfriend." He grabs his phone, his heart thumping. He stares at her contact name for a long time. He types out a message. "Good morning." Then he deletes it. Too nervous. He buries his face in his pillow, kicking his feet. Meanwhile, Usuba is already awake. She stares at her own reflection in the mirror. She gently touches the hand he held. Remembering the warmth from yesterday, a deep blush creeps up her neck. Her phone buzzes. It's just her friend. She admits to herself she hoped it was him. She wonders what to do at school today. How is a new girlfriend supposed to act? The thought makes her dizzy with happiness. Later, Mogi walks his usual route to school, and then, up ahead, he sees her. Usoba is waiting at the corner. His steps slow down. He starts to sweat. She sees him and gives a tiny, shy wave. He walks up to her, his throat completely dry. "Morning," he manages to say. "Good morning," she whispers back, not meeting his eyes. A super awkward silence hangs between them. They start walking, with a huge gap between them. They get closer to the school gate. Other students are starting to stare and whisper. Mogi glances at her. Panic is in his eyes. She looks back, just as panicked. "I'll go in first," he says quickly. She just nods, looking at the ground. He walks ahead, feeling like a total loser. In the classroom, the tension is even worse. They sit at their desks, on opposite sides of the room. They can feel everyone's eyes on them. Mogi's friend Kai leans over. "You look like you saw a ghost," he whispers. "Shut up," Mogi mumbles, his face red. Across the room, Usuba's friends huddle around her. "Did something happen with Mogi yesterday?" one asks. Usuba just shakes her head, unable to speak. Her friend pokes her cheek. "You're totally red." The morning classes feel like an eternity. Mogi can't focus on a single word the teacher says. He keeps sneaking glances at Usuba. She's doing the exact same thing. Their eyes meet for just a split second. They both look away instantly, faces burning. Finally, the lunch bell rings. The classroom explodes with noise and chatter. But Mogi doesn't move. He's frozen in his seat. Usuba is also completely still at her desk. This is it, the moment of truth. Do they eat lunch together? Or pretend nothing happened? The whole class seems to be waiting, watching them. Kai nudges Mogi's back. Hard. "Go on, you idiot," he says with a grin. Mogi takes a deep, shaky breath. He pushes his chair back. The sound echoes. A few students stop talking and look over. He stands up from his desk. More people turn to watch. The room gets quieter. He starts walking toward Usuba's desk. Each step feels like it takes a full minute. Now the entire class is silent, staring. He stands right in front of her desk. Usuba slowly looks up at him. Her eyes are wide, her face is glowing bright red. He opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. He swallows hard and tries again. "Usuba," his voice cracks a little. "Do you want to eat lunch together?" The whole world seems to hold its breath. She stares at him for one long second. Then, a huge, brilliant smile breaks across her face. She gives a firm, happy nod. Yes. A wave of murmurs and gasps sweeps the classroom. "No way!" someone shouts from the back. "They're really a thing?" Another whispers loudly. Mogi lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He helps her gather up her lunch. They walk out of the classroom, side by side. They find a sunny spot on a quiet stairway. He opens his bento box. She opens hers. They look at each other, and finally, they laugh. The laughter fades on the quiet stairway. Suddenly, it's silent. Way too silent. They both stare down at their bento boxes. Mogi doesn't know what to say. He risks a peek at her lunch. His eyes go wide. It's perfect. Like from a magazine. Colorful rice, tiny octopus sausages, rolled egg. He looks at his own sad convenience store bread. He can't help himself. "Wow," he says. "Your lunch looks incredible." Usuba's face turns bright pink. She whispers that she made it herself. Mogi's brain stops working for a second. She's pretty, she's smart, and she can cook. He feels a little lame in comparison. She sees him looking down. "Do you want to try some?" she asks. Mogi's head snaps up. "Really? Are you sure?" She nods, a little shy. She picks up a perfect little piece of rolled egg. She holds her chopsticks out to him. The classic "on" moment. His heart explodes. He leans in, mouth slightly open, just as he's about to take it. "Hey, look over there!" A group of girls from their class appears. They're trying to act like they just happened to walk by, but they're staring right at them. Usuba yanks her hand back. The piece of egg falls back into her bento. Mogi freezes. The private moment is shattered. "Hi, Mogi-kun. Hi, Usuba-san," one girl calls out. Her smile is way too big. They slowly walk closer, surrounding them. "Ooh, having lunch together? How cute." Another one points with her chin. "Is this a date?" They all start giggling and whispering. Usuba shrinks into herself. She stares at her lap, her face burning. Mogi sees her shoulders trembling. He feels a hot flash of anger. They're ruining this. They're making her miserable. He clenches his fists by his side. He has to say something. He has to. But his throat is completely dry. The girls are still giggling, waiting for an answer. Usuba won't even look up. Mogi takes a shaky breath. He thinks of how happy she looked just a minute ago. He has to protect that smile. He lifts his head and looks right at them. His eyes are surprisingly sharp. So, is it a date or not? The main girl presses. The air goes still. Mogi opens his mouth. Yeah, just one simple word. The giggling stops instantly. We're having lunch together, he says. His voice steady. He stares them down. Is there a problem? The girls are completely stunned. This was not the reaction they expected. No problem at all, one stammers. Right, we'll just go, see you? They practically run away down the stairs. And then silence again. Mogi finally lets out the breath he was holding. His heart is beating 1,000,000 miles an hour. He turns to Usuba, worried he went too far. But she's not hiding anymore. She's looking right at him. Her eyes are wide with total surprise. And something else, he's never seen her look at him like that. It's pure admiration. A small, shaky smile appears on her lips. Mogi-kun, she whispers, thank you. He immediately gets flustered. He rubs the back of his neck. It was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. It was everything. The tension is gone. The air feels warm now. Usuba looks down at her bento. She picks up her chopsticks. She lifts that same piece of egg again. This time, her hand is steady. Her eyes are bright. She holds it out to him without a word. He leans in and eats it. A smile spreads across his face. It's delicious. They finish the rest of their lunch in a happy, comfortable silence.